My good Valyrian and well met indeed. My name is Stag and welcome to the Celtigar Dynasty. This is a prologue episode and today we will decide what start date we will begin the series in. I did a poll then, obviously not too long ago, some of you would have seen it, which is basically a little dynasty vote deciding what house we play. And if it isn't obvious, obviously the Celtigars won out, which I was pleasantly surprised to see the Celtigars win. So we had 83 people voting. We start at the bottom, so 8% went to the Corharis dynasty, the Corharis being a very lesser known house that once owned Harrenhal, which was first given to by Aegon the Conqueror after the Conquest. They only got 8% votes, not many people too fast to see them, and drawing together 12% for both is Bittersteel and Bloodraven, so not many the lesser, I guess, the lesser great bastards of the Black compared to House Blackfire. They didn't get many votes at all, unfortunately, which is a shame because they're quite an interesting house, but unfortunately didn't get anywhere. And obviously, just before the penultimate one, I suppose, with 25% of the votes was Blackfire, the Blackfire dynasty. So not that many people voted for Blackfire, which I was surprised. Going into that poll, I fully expected Blackfire to probably win the vote. But unexpectedly, with 42% of the votes, was the Celtigars. Everyone's actually really keen to play the Celtigars. So there are quite a few comments saying, one point out, crab time. It's crab time. Definitely is. One point out about reforming Valyria. Whether or not we'll do that, I don't know. Probably we'll see, I guess. Someone was disappointed that Blackfire lost, but there you go. Someone said that everyone else is overrated apart from the Celtigars, and yeah, to an extent, yeah, Celtigars isn't that much talked about. They're definitely not that much talked about, considering Valyrian, of course, is like heavily showed off in the House of Dragon, which I did watch the first episode of the new season just yesterday, and I got to say it was pretty good. I quite enjoyed it. Blood and Cheese was a little bit different to the books, but that was fine. It was just it's minor. I'm not too past that Blood and Cheese. That Maelor got killed and Jaehaerys lived. I mean, I'm sure Jaehaerys will still die, according to the books. I just don't know how he will die. Someone also suggested actually a few time periods. Probably one because of House of Dragon, which is Dance of Dragons. We'll talk about them later. Someone suggested the Century of Blood, and I considered the Century of Blood, and I did do a bit of play testing for 3 of the scenarios that are in this poll today. But I did play test the Century of Blood, and it wasn't really. There wasn't a lot happening. The only way for you to expand, because the Durrandon's absolutely massive in this time period, is to take Driftmark and take over Dragonstone, basically. And then try and take the Crackclaw Point, which usually gets conquered by the Durrandons or Slave Raid to existence. But I don't know how I'm going to beat, unless I take all over that, and then I just know I can probably beat the Crackclaw Point. It depends if I get dragons. But even then, we're starting with such a small domain that I think conquering any other parts of Westeros would be very difficult to do. So yeah, I liked the Celtigars in this time period, but they just wasn't. I played around for a bit. It wasn't really entertaining for me anyway. So there you go. Today's video we will go through 5 different options, and those 5 will be the ones that we choose to do. Maybe we'll reform Valyria. We'll say that. But yeah, the Celtigars have won, and obviously the next episode I did sort of suggest in my. There is meant to be a developer diary, but these videos are just quicker to make, so you'll probably see a few of these, and then I can start getting ready with the intros and stuff like that. And I will do intros, so the only ones I'm not going to do intros for will probably be probably the War in the North campaign, because obviously the War in the North, which looks to be the far end so far. I could do an intro, but I think for those particular series where we just play a normal game without like many stories and whatnot, with its own sort of story. I won't bother like doing intros for that. That sort of type of series is a series that I can sort of chill to and just play for a bit of fun, and not worry about intros. With Skyrim, I would like to do intros for, because I feel you can really get into the RP as a character. Whether or not intros will be consistent for all these series, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how much time I have and see how I feel. I'm not gonna force myself to make intros because I know I won't like it. I won't like doing them, and then they will never happen. So So two DAC series we will be doing intros for as well. I have a really good opportunity with the Dunedain and Dorwinian to make some good intros. And for Celtigar as well, we will do a few intros. The idea is to be basically point of view characters. So for Celtigar, for example, if we were playing as this time period, which we're not, I could do an intro from the perspective of Aegon, then maybe his son, maybe another character in our court, possibly maybe our liege lord or something like that, I don't know. Or another character from a different point of view. And the similar thing I could do with the DAC campaigns, although probably it's more expected to be from the perspective of the faction leader, and then maybe the heir or somebody else in either in the faction or maybe an external general from somewhere else. Well, with Skyrim though, I could do like point of view intros from the perspective of other characters, but I have to be slightly careful because obviously those characters already have their own dialogue, so I may just stick with a sort of a POV like intro. It's almost like chapters almost, but it just won't be as long as like a full chapter. So with the Skyrim series, so I could just do it from the perspective of the character I'm playing as. Maybe the odd character or follower I could do a perspective intro about potentially, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Or maybe perspective of another character that isn't around, but I'm not really sure. But see how it goes. But anyway, let's go through the poll option. Providing the pause button works, I should be able to just cut either way. I don't want to have to cut out in editing because that just takes ages. It's so much easier to pause the recording now and then unpause when you want to come back and re-record again. It's just so much easier. It's such an easy way to do things rather than having to stop recording and you end up with like 20 different files that you'll have to connect together. And it's just so much hard work. So let's try and do the pause button, and I should show you the different scenarios that we are going to do for the vote. Now the vote itself then. So that will be in the description of this video, and you will find a link to you will find a link to the community tab, which will take you to the poll. That's what I thought about that. It will take you to the poll, and you will have 5 options, and those 5 options, and the highest voted option wins. Will be the time period that we play in, and you will see the first episode hopefully in the coming weeks, but hopefully before the coming weeks. But if we're doing intros, it's going to take a little bit longer, so bear that in mind. So let's pause, and I shall go and show you the first scenario that we will be voting for. So the first one, of course, is the War of Conquest. Now I've already gone off camera actually and edited a few things for the time periods. I've already created the save game, so generally I just need to write an intro and basically start recording. That's basically what I need to do. I am using quite a few different submods. I've taken the liberty and looked through and gone through and installed a bunch more submods to add to the series. And there's obviously a lot more I've added. So there's a few ones that I quite like to actually change up some of the some cool traits for dragons, which is quite cool. Like it shows them what sort of if they particularly have a big wingspan, if they have a small wingspan, what sort of how powerful they are, and also what sort of fire they spew. Black flame, white flame, normal orange flames. Like it's really cool. I love it. And for the I will go through actually the end of this video and quickly show the submods I'm using. I'm going to do something similar with the Skyrim series, or that would be its own video because there's loads and loads of Skyrim mods for this for that series anyway. So we have the War of Conquest, and if it's actually easy for me to just press load game, because that took me like 2 seconds, so I'll just carry on. So the War of Conquest, obviously this time period, Aegon is invading Westeros. I've gone ahead a few bits, and I've also edited the Kingsguard, all these scenarios as well, to make sure that the Kingsguard is already at its high enough members. And I've also made it so Aegon is already starting invading Westeros. I didn't want to have it go off and invade New Valyria. That could be interesting, but again, the similar scenario. We're stuck in Claw Isle trying to fight Driftmark and then the Emperor of New Valyria. That's just never going to happen. So, there you go. So the War of Conquest. We start with War of the Iron Islands, and the Celtigars will of course be mostly Targaryen loyalists. But obviously some scenarios may have us in a different light. But we'll see. But anyway, the War of Conquest then with Crispian Celtigar, who was, I believe, who is currently the Master of Coin of Westeros. I don't know if he was Hand of the King or not. No, that's Horus, of course. Of course, silly. So yeah. The War of Conquest. I've also gone through and edited all the... I could actually go through and show you like, the characters and whatnot, like different sons, because all the sons and heirs are slightly different, but I didn't really do that. Some of the characters and stuff is auto-generated by CK2, just so people don't die out. And some traits and ancillaries and traits are just or sometimes auto-generated for characters that I don't think have have all. I don't know how it works CK2 because I have no idea how modding works for this game. But I think what happens is that the game they sort of assign traits and ancillaries, traits and like stuff in their retinue, whatever, treasury. And some characters just get auto-generated for them. So some characters might be kind of naff, some might be really good, and some aren't. So there you go. So War of Conquest. The next one then is the dance. They all are, but I'll go for each one. But you have the Dance of Dragons, which of course is rather popular with the House of Dragon Season 2 being primarily at this time period, where we will play as Lord Ardrian Celtigar, who is currently the Master at Arms of Dragonstone, actually, although I don't think he's got that great martial, but then again, I can't remember off the top of my head. But of course, in this time period is the Dance of Dragons. Rhaenyra Targaryen has declared war on her brother Aegon for the throne, and she believes she is the rightful heir, and says Aegon. So in a bit of a conundrum there. And of course, it's a Dance of Dragons, lots of dragon conflict. Celtigar will be a minor role in that, obviously big conflict, but of course we'll be fighting on the side of Rhaenyra Targaryen and fighting to put herself or her son or relatives on the Iron Throne. So that's the Dance of Dragons. The next scenario then is Blackfire Rebellion. Of course, in a time period where Aegon IV magnanimously decided to legitimize all of his bastards, and that started a massive civil war. So there you go. And obviously, Daemon Blackfire declared war on Daeron, and all the shit's hit the fan. There's a massive civil war. Bartimus Celtigar, who's also called Bartimus, very popular name among the Celtigars, it seems. It's obviously on the side of the Targaryen. So again, very much Targaryen loyalists, and that's going to be a recurring theme in this. So that's Blackfire Rebellion. On to the next one then is Robert's Rebellion, from the perspective of Adrian the Red Crab, who is a character you'll see of the Clash of Kings as well. But Adrian's a bit younger in this time period, although not that much younger, to be honest. So Lord Ardrian is obviously under the liege under Rhaegar Targaryen, so of course again fighting with the Targaryens unless Robert wins, and things may change. But obviously in Robert's Rebellion, Robert has declared war against Aerys after Aerys has killed a bunch of people and demanded his head. So Robert said, "Screw this, we're going to war. I'm going to put myself on the throne." So there you go. So yeah, so that will be the Robert's Rebellion. So pretty basic. Then moving on to a time period we all know and will know a bit more is the Clash of Kings. Now I have also gone back a few months, so actually we have the parlay at Storm's End with Renly. So Renly and Stannis. So Renly could actually beat Stannis, so that could be interesting. So, but for now, Adrian's under the lordship of Stannis, and we fight for him at the moment, which is slightly a bit difficult for the Celtigars because they've been sworn Targaryen loyalists for centuries. Having to fight with the Baratheons could well remain loyal to Stannis, but things could change should the Targaryens return to Westeros. But of course, this time period, we all know this very well. Joffrey's on the throne, Robb's declared king of the north, the Greyjoys are either attacking the west or the north. Renly and Stannis are fighting each other for the throne, but obviously once they finish their move against Joffrey, Mace Tyrell, Doran Martell, Daenerys is obviously in Carth at this time, and basically everything's sort of, and obviously Tywin's still alive, and Robert Arryn's doing nothing in the Vale as always. The Manta Raiders are coming, the White Walkers are coming, and the Night's Watch stand stalwart to prepare themselves against the coming onslaught. But yeah, so you have 5 options then: the War of Conquest, the Dance of Dragons, the Blackfire Rebellion, Robert's Rebellion, Clash of Kings. With Clash of Kings, Robert will be playing as Adrian. With Blackfire and Dance, we're playing as Bartimus, but obviously a different Bartimus. They are separate characters. One's, I think, the grandson of maybe the guy in Dance, I think. And War of Conquest, we play as the other guy, who was, I've forgotten his name. Let's just quickly go to this a minute, and I'll quickly tell you who his name is. Unless it's a name water generates, but I don't think it does. Oh, Crispin Celtigar. Silly. Well, I've clicked it now, so I may as well wait. Come on. Come on. Why do you have to go really slow when I want to do something? Come on. Come on, game. Come on. What are you doing? Oh, hang on a minute. Okay, there we go. Crispin Celtigar. Jesus Christ. I don't know why the game was having trouble there, but there you go. Oh, it takes ages. It's partly because of the submods. Now, I don't know if I'm going to go through and list the links to all the submods. Just search them up on either the submod page for CK2 or just generally search them up. and they should come up for you. I'm not going to leave a link for this video, but I will leave a link, maybe potentially for the first episode, if I can be bothered. Why is it taking so long to go backwards? Is that hard for CK2 to really comprehend? You press back, go back to the bloody menu, Jesus. Alright, okay. Let's just wait patiently again while my dinner is... there we go. Jesus. Alright. So, I am using all the DLCs. If it's not really obvious, CK2 is free nowadays, and I think the DLCs you can get like a membership thing now, but I own them all. That's why I'm not committing to CK3, because I know I want to get all the DLCs, but I just don't want to spend loads and loads of money on DLCs. So there you go, I'm using all the DLCs, all the content packs, all the unit packs, portrait packs as well, shield packs. I'm not using the plate metal because I'm not a big metal fan anyway. I had the DLCs, but I just don't metal, especially when you're playing this mod. It just doesn't fit the CK2. It just doesn't fit CK2 at all. I mean, it might be maybe fitting from, but then again, metal music just doesn't make sense from medieval time periods. It doesn't work. All the other song things, Pagan Fury, I don't have that for some reason. I don't know what that is. I've never brought that. I don't know if it's, I think it's like an official band, but I don't know. I've tried listening to music before and it's not into it. I obviously got the Ruler Designer, customization pack, and the EU4 converter, which I never use, but it's so let's go through the submods in, shall we? So we've got the second Valyrian coin flip. So basically, I think for lesser Valyrian houses, you can get an option to go to make a Valyrian coin flip thing. I think if you become either king or something or other, or have a kingdom title, you get a Valyrian coin flip option, I think. No, but I have enabled it for... Oh, that's nothing. I'll go through the options as well, actually, for each one. They're all the same. Game of Thrones, which obviously is this main mod. The People Champion gives you like a little trait for champions. So if you have... so I think if you become well known, you get like a champion trait. Bloodlines adds in lots of bloodlines for various different houses. Dragons of the East gives a few more like new Valyrian options for any like Valyrian factions or houses in the East. You get a few when it comes to like obviously dragon, obviously what's the word? What's I gonna say? I don't know what I was gonna say. You get a few dragon options as well, I think. Some other options in the East. Basically, just if you're in the East, it's great. I've got it on in case we do actually go East, but I don't know if we will yet. Dragons Expanded then, basically adds in a lot more dragon events. Also, I think customizes the portraits for dragons and gives that a lot more traits, which is pretty cool. Dueling Duelists, I think, just gives the option to have more duels, I think. You can duel more people, I think, or makes duels a bit maybe more frequent, I think. Harrenhal is ruined. I think it edits the fort level of Harrenhal, but I don't know if it actually works because I did test it a while ago and nothing really happened. So I don't know if it does work, but I guess we'll find out. Hornwood, I think just gives a bit more to the House Hornwood. Why I enabled it to this, I don't really know. I probably should have disabled it, but it doesn't really matter. Isle of Faces, just adds the Isle of Faces a province for you to go to, although I don't think you can really get to it. It's just there for a bit of flavour. Knights of the Sword Tower gives a bit of added bonuses and traits and ancillaries and like other like not really. I keep saying ancillaries. Total War is just fluttering into my mind, so I've been doing modding for it recently. But it adds a few traits, adds a few more events for the Kingsguard. Although most of the Kingsguard events I've seen now, I think. But it just adds a bit more to the Kingsguard. Larger base court size makes the court size a bit bigger because I find some court sizes should be bigger, especially the Red Keep. That's a huge court. Mace the Warrior tutelage, so some maces actually get the warrior, skills traits to basically allow them to train because maces are basically. They are teachers, so they should be able to teach them some sort of skill with blade. More Bloodlines submod, which adds in a few more provinces. I think a few more Bloodlines as well. Also more bookmarks, adds some more bookmarks to the game. Like the Holy King, Aegon Crowned, and a few others. No Pretender Opinion. It's basically when you inherit a title, your relatives don't get the No Pretender Opinion, which is always a bit stupid, because that's... If you're on the throne, you're the rightful kid, probably. So, yeah, whatever. Obligation law opinions. I think that just makes the opinions of people a bit less. They don't get as annoyed with you if you do certain things. Special buildings gives you more buildings to build. And some extra, some events, stuff that go with it. Speed dating. Not quite sure what that entirely does. I think it just makes you, allow you to date more people. And maybe some other things. I haven't really looked into it that much, but we'll see. Squires and wards, of course, when I installed this was quite a few weeks ago, so I don't remember all of it. But squires and wards gives a bit more like stuff to your wards and squires, and allows them to be knighted and trained and whatnot. Dragon's Peace is a few more like events and time periods and events that kick in for various characters, usually when you're on your own throne. So that's pretty cool. And there's a few like custom bookmarks as well, like the Beggar King, for example. Trait soft caps are basically just eliminates the soft cap for traits. So you can have as many traits you want, and also I think it stops you getting personality traits, that it changes your personality traits and stuff like that, so that's quite good. Wound healing reworked, basically reworks any wounds you get and how long it takes you to heal, etc. Cruel World makes characters die, makes the death chance of natural causes a lot higher for certain ages, so when you're younger, it makes it quite higher, and then when you're older, you get higher and higher. Basically makes the game a bit harder, because I find so many games I have like barrages of kids, and that they all live forever. And not forever, but you have 100 of members, and I find that just makes the game way too easy if you have so many members. Do Your Duty basically makes you able to change, so if your character's gone like really martial, it allows you to change, say if they've gone theology for the Way of Life DLC, you can change that to like a war focus. Dragonite's Castle, I think that basically makes the castles, either when you attack a castle with your dragon, you can basically have an option to ruin it or not to ruin it. High Lordship Baron just gives you High Lordship. No artifact losing basically makes so you don't lose your artifacts when you die, unless under specific circumstances. Osgrey, that's basically just to make the Osgreys, there's a few events for the Osgreys, but obviously I'm not playing as Osgreys, but I just left it on anyway. Assume Power Vanilla, I don't know if that works for Seeker 2, I haven't really tested it yet, but basically when you become a regent, I think if you are a character, you say you're a Lord of Crackclaw, and you become the regent of Castle Rock, of the Lord Paramountcy of the West, then I think you get to actually take over the title, and to play as the Lord of the West until the other guy comes of age and the regency ends. I don't think that works though if you're playing as, say, the King of the Iron Throne and then someone else becomes regent. I don't think that works that way. Got Sin's Dragon Tamer Lords, basically makes you have a few choices in regards to taming dragons and whatnot. Sinful Population gives a bit more population and stuff. Wolflings actually gives the option for, if you're, say for example, you're Eddard Stark and you have a direwolf, there's a chance your direwolf could actually have a baby and have a little pup, and then they grow up and they have, I think they have a few traits that are like little pup traits, and then they get to like more normal direwolf and whatnot. Personal Castle, a bit similar to the special building submod. It adds more buildings for the Personal Castle submod as well. And that's all the other mods that I have on, but some of them I'm not using. Some actually don't work for Seeker 2 that I have turned on, but they don't work. New loading screens, that's interesting because loading screens I have turned off, but I've been seeing some loading screens since I've started the game, so I'm not sure what that's about. Anyway, I'll quickly go off and show you the options that we are using for, we'll just show the red crab for example, and hopefully it doesn't take too long to load. But yeah, I am quite looking forward to generally this new series. It's going to be quite fun playing as the Celtigars, and I think it's going to be something different. It is a bit similar to the Valyrians and the Targaryens, but Celtigars are a little different because they've more adopted the Westerosi sort of names and traditions, and the Valyrian features have sort of almost been lost when you come to obviously the time period where Ardrian is around. And you don't know much about the Celtigars. Celtigar, of course, has a Valyrian steel axe called Crab's Pincer, which is, of course, pretty iconic. And yeah, it's one of the only Valyrian houses that I think has an axe instead of a sword, which is, of course, quite rare, apart from obviously the odd few that have a dagger. But yeah, I'm just going to show you the rules, because I know some people like to see the rules. This is so we just don't have to do all this on the first episode. So, there you go. So this is what I'm using basically. I'll scroll down, but essentially I've that's turned off. That's all just mine stuff. The normal cost for the education is fine. High is just too expensive. Normal's fine. Slavery is obviously turned on. I know some people don't like that, but obviously that's a core feature of the game and core feature of CK2, and generally a core feature of the Game of Thrones world. Slavery is a thing. So turning it off is just doesn't make sense. I also like I like to make things harder for myself, because I have like if I can show you, yeah, 3,000 hours. So I know this game very, very, very well. So I like to give as much challenge as I possibly can. So I've turned Major Epidemics deadly, so that can come quite a few times. Will that bite us in the arse? Maybe. We'll see. I've turned the minor epidemics onto more, because generally medieval time periods and society and healthcare was shit. So generally, you should have a chance to... it should be more frequent for diseases to crop up, because, like, you know, it's not the modern world. So border disputes, I've turned that on, that's fine. Devil worshippers, that's fine, that's interesting, so I'll leave it on. Epidemic diseases can turn on. I've left the Sunset Invasion on, just because bite us in the ass, but it does make the game really hard, and the fact that the Aztec army shows up with the... well, they're actually Starks from the Descendants of Bran the Shipwright. They turn up and they actually invade, which is quite interesting. Ex-slave independence, so some people kind of disconnect land anywhere in the world. Say, for example, the Iron Islands can have some land over in Pentos or whatever. That's fine. Shatter retreats turned on. Movement lock is on. Siege assaults on. If it's lower than 10. Siege events are on. Absurd events, so AI rulers will be eligible to receive absurd events. That's always interesting. That's all default restricted. That's restricted because that's just annoying. And it makes sense if it just stops the border gore as well. It only happens if titles border each other, which is fair enough. Religious conversion speed is default. I've turned that off. Did I turn that off? Can't remember why, but I turned the culture conversion off because it just changes things a lot. But yeah, I can't do it back now. So yeah, adventurers normal. Yeah, matrimonial marriages on. Raiding historical. Interfaith marriages are made restricted because generally, I mean, some like Ironborn probably won't marry a Northman, and Faith of the Seven probably won't marry a Valyrian woman from. I've seen so many marriages where like Dothraki women marry Lannisters, and it's just so stupid. Or Cersei gets married off to fucking Khal Drogo or something ridiculous like that. So I just turn it off. Republic, that's restricted, yeah. Invite to court, I made it more open because before there has to have like loads of stupid requirements. You have to have this to come to the court, mate. It's just like, if they like you enough, yeah, they'll come to court rather than like making it complicated. Diplomatic range on, I left it on because sometimes you get stupid alliances of GT and Westeros allied together, which is just bizarre. And Westeros is going over to fight against Ashaya for some reason. So I just cut that, really. Provincial revolts, normal. Provincial revolt strength is default. If you have it on the extreme level, you get about 100,000 people rebelling. It's just completely unwinnable. Defensive attrition, that's on. Players only can only reform pagan religions. That's fine, because I probably will not go into that in this series. Left Regency's on because of the thing that I've got on, so Regency's on. Plots only, yeah, because you can do direct assassination, but that's a bit overpowered. Dueling is unrestricted, so anyone can duel whoever. You can't release prisoners off. Yeah, no one releases prisoners if you do that because that just seems a bit bizarre, really. Why would you cut someone's what's it off and then release them? It just seems bizarre. But there you go. I don't know. Dynasty size default limit is vassal limit, and grant independence is unrestricted because sometimes I like to fix border gore. Say if I own, I don't know, some random the Sunstone for some bizarre reason I don't really want it, I can just give the independence to whoever. Which is fine. That's all turned on. That's all turned on. Says a child of destiny. Martial headgear. That makes sense. I turn it on because generally most people would be wearing headgear. No matter if you're the king or whoever, you're always going to be wearing headgear. Because people, I know sometimes in TV shows they don't show that, but obviously you historically wise, you would be wearing headgear. Even if it may look sometimes stupid. Potency flavor. That's on. Non-aggression pact fashion thing. Yeah, that's a one. That's on. Valyrian White Walkers can show up, which is fine. Mega invasion, non-law invasion, that's always interesting. High Valyrian coal, that's fine. Yeah, lowball High Valyrian cores that spawn with the game will be cold. Character conversion to High Valyrian is also prohibited, which is a bit odd, but that's fine. I can always cheat to, if I want my character to go High Valyrian, I can always just cheat that if I need to. I've made Dragon Hatching Taming to Valyrian only because it just doesn't make sense for other people to get Valyrian dragons. Targaryen coin flip, that's all for all High Valyrian, so Celtigars should get that as well, maybe? I don't know if it might be an exception to them, but they should get it anyway. Dual outcome randomness is normal, that's fine. I mean, there's a chance that obviously a Training Fighter could beat a Formidable Warrior. Say if the Formidable Warrior decides to slip into mud during the battle, or whacks his head, or gets hit back with a shield, then obviously he can be struck down. Battle for dual occurrence is more frequent to make it again harder. Nomad invasion unrestricted, that's fine. Mongols, and like in the base game obviously Mongols and Dothraki invading 3 cities is not exactly something that doesn't happen. It does. High Lordship creation requirement is on, so you have to have actually one province in the High Lordship to be able to create a title. Disinheritance, that's unrestricted. I made colonization much harder, so you have to have 1600 gold, which is very hard. You can't abdicate. Colonization time is normal, that's fine. 50 years, that's a long time in the game. Shadow Realm is off. Expanded Realm Ambition is on. Symmetrical Start is off, obviously. Enhanced Marriage AI is on, which again makes Marriage AI make sense, because sometimes the Martells marry off to some, to, like, say, example for some guy, the Fossilways, and then the Fossilways take over Dawn, which just gets silly. So generally having the AI to change that makes sense. Dynastic Claims is on, Fabricating Claims is on, Dynastic Stability is on, so characters can say if a Lannister gets extinguished, someone who marries a Lannister can take the house. That's less restricted. No Tyranny. I don't know why you should get Tyranny, but I've turned that off because Tyranny is just stupid for not letting your son become Lord of something. It's just odd. And that's unrestricted. Dragon Dance is turned on. Dragon Conquest is player only because some people take over all sorts of stuff, so just player only is fine. Dragon Rider Limiter is also off, so you can ride as many as you want. Border Gore Control on, thank God. Play the game, families gain advantage with marriages and reap rulers, and Valyrian Blood and Strongest Seed as well. So there you go. And I've turned that off now because I don't think I have that sub on anyway. But that's all for now. That's the video. I have nothing else to really say. That's the video. In the description of the video, you will find a poll there where we shall vote for the scenario that we shall play as. So there you go. And that's also the game rules in the mod. I may leave a couple links, possibly two. I won't list all the game rules because I don't really care. But I may leave a couple links to some of the submods in the first episode. I won't for this video, but I will for the first episode, maybe, if I can be bothered. But I probably will. But that's all for now. Navaya, Naden, Perman, Melanine, and I shall see you all very soon with House Celtigar. Farewell.